Welcome back to Ultra Review, episode number 4. Here we're reviewing episodes 13 to 16 of Ultra Q. Now, here's the thing about 13 and 16. Now, they're two standalone episodes. 16 is the sequel to 13. I'll talk about 16. And here's the thing. 14 and 16 are sequel episodes. Yes, they're sequel. First off, let's talk about episode 13, and I'll talk about 16. Now, their kids, this one, it's a minor plot point here. They're in the story for the first half, and then they're shooed away. Yeah. So, basically, this kid just randomly finds this rock, brings it to his school. One of his science teachers looks at it, and of course, that's what the main characters get involved in, about this weird rock. Yep, and then, of course, they go up to the lake where the kid found it. And just by sheer coincidence, there was two teenage girls where they're basically like at this dam, which apparently underneath this water used to be an actual village. Now you're probably thinking, is this perfectly normal for stuff like this to happen? Yes. Usually build dams for power plant purposes. And by the way, the events of this episode is referenced in episode 16. So of course, the scientist who's there for this episode, he is Professor Inonochi. He actually appears this episode, but surprisingly, he is, well, if you're really curious, does he appear in the next few episodes? No, he doesn't. He's surprisingly absent. Yeah, so he is absent for this episodes for reasons I'll explain. Yeah. It's almost like this character is like a reoccurring character. Yeah, so he's brought there. By the way, he's not wearing his lab coat this time, so he's basically brought out to look at the area. And then not long after they arrive there, a meteorite arrives in the area, and of course there's this guy driving this boat. By the way, they have this thing where he looks out and looks see this white wall where her friend used to live, and then this meteorite basically lands in this lake, evaporates the water. The boat is headed to the cliffside, which of course the guys go rescue the girls from the boat, and from the meteorite, the professor sees this. It cracks open, and then we see a monster pop out, which is actually a robot. It's referred to as the Grandma. Yeah, it's more as Gorman. Grandma, they describe in this episode as somebody who, people who fear meteorites, that's what they call them. So, what does this thing do? It just walks about, sees the boat, but luck up the guys get the girls out in time, and of course they smash the boat. And then they're writing out the story as soon as they're rescued. Yeah, as soon as they're rescued, they're pretty much written out the story. Just like the kids, they're basically writing out the story because you're not involved. So, Yuri, who actually is not really much, she's basically just called in, not by the chief, but by basically, well, June, goes to the lab, and of course they stop this thing from going on by blocking it with basically this thing to shut down the radio, which shut down the monster, which already partially destroyed the jam anyways, and this is the power plant. And then of course, like, you think this is over? Oh no, it returns in episode 16. So in 16, we also have this other guy appears in this episode who controls the electronic brain, which I think it's the same exact brain that was discovered back in episode 13. And for some reason, it's kept in a laboratory safe. I would have thought that they would have either put it much more. The safe they put in it was very easily broken into. Of course, they get out, transport, and of all things, a cello case. Yes, a cello case. And of course, then all of a sudden we have more meteorites, and of course they land not in a lake this time, but frickin' Tokyo. Yes, it's destroying the whole city. And I'm sure probably next episode the city's probably rebuilt. Yep. Like the whole city is laid to ruins, which is something though for the series. It's only 60 episodes in. A series into doing that. Yeah, so Then we have about 2 or 3 of these creatures. Oh, by the way, the first time I was defeated, there was this yellow ooze coming out of his mouth because the brain was shut down. Yeah, this one mostly they chase around this guy, this weird guy, who turns out to be an alien. Yes, the first time we got an actual alien in the series, and probably the whole franchise. And he is pretty weak. Though they discovered alien after he was shot, and then he's killed for his failure after the brains were resealed. And Gorman does not appear again in the series after this. He is returned after this in different series, but not in this one. Oh no. He has not returned to this series. His suits were used for different monsters in Ultraman, but he himself, he's done until like much later. I found 13 and 16 to be really good. 14 is another sequel. It was actually the first sequel episode. This will follow up to episode 9. And you're thinking, really? Yeah. It's a follow-up to episode 9. I think it's 9, right? No, it's actually a follow-up to episode 5. Yeah, and by the way, this is only episode 14. It had been 9 episodes since his previous appearance. And they say that June encountered this guy a year prior, even though it's been 9 episodes. So basically, this is like Perigale arriving in... It's, what's the name of this one? It is, Pelagula. Yeah, he arrives in Tokyo. He basically freezes the airport, and there's also a minor subplot with this jewel thief, who turns out to be a famous Zero pilot, who's still alive, and they defeated this creature the same way the last time he had the special moss, which apparently this Japanese Alps laboratory just randomly has it. So he picks up, and he suicide bombs him to kill the creature, become a hero. And of course, also this another subplot with killing for his father. He does find him, and then he doesn't see him again after this one. But I did find like that 14 was really good. I feel like this one spent a lot of money on this one. And same thing with 16, really good one. But 15, oh boy, another bad episode. And it's only been 9 episodes since the last one when I watched this one. Yes, this one has zero regular, like, the regular cast is absent for this episode. Like, nobody appears. It's all about this creature known as the Greyron, where it also is the main villain of this episode. They call it the bearded guy. Even though he's got a mustache. You call that a beard? No, it's a freaking mustache. He's this guy who apparently hates kids. And I think the person who wrote this, he must have wrote Godzilla's Revenge, because this was bad. Oh my gosh, it's just as bad as episode 6. So yeah, we have a really good episode, another good episode, a really bad episode, and we have another good one. So far in 16 episodes, there's only been 2 bad episodes. Only 2. Yeah, nothing appears to be bad except for those 2 episodes. What to serve for that one? It's like, oh, he collects money, comes this creature, and he's cured by the end of the episode, and then he discovers his parents returned to the thing, and just not brought up again. Yeah, no wonder why this is completely ignored. Because basically you could easily skip this one, and it does not impact the story at all for Ultra Q. It just feels like this episode was complete random. Now, my guess is probably the reason why I threw this in, because the actors are probably busy with other stuff, so they need... Okay, so we need to give them a week off from basically doing all this stuff for about 14 episodes at this point. Let's give them a brief vacation. But we need to make sure we put Ultra Q episode out. So let's put an episode that doesn't feature anybody and basically feature a monster we'll probably never seen again. But who knows? But next, by the way, in episode 16, we get a brief appearance by Dr. Sarasara from the Godzilla movies. Well, the very first one. Well, it's him and it isn't him. Okay, it's his actor who plays him. Yes, believe it or not, when they have him show up in this very episode, yeah, I was actually quite surprised. My only guess is the reason why he had to make an appearance here. And this is my personal theory of the reason why. The only reason why he appeared in this episode is probably as a favor. Yes, a favor to the people behind this series. Oh yeah, definitely. I do think so. I think that basically, like I said, he's just here as a favor. Yeah. But yeah, he's known for doing this episode. And he does return for Ultraman, so don't worry about that. But he would actually pass away like about 18 years of this episode. Yeah, he actually passed away in 1964. 1964. 84. But this was he only appears just as one episode. He does return to Ultraman as a regular character, which it probably was also. But this episode, these 4 episodes, like 3 are good, 1's bad. Yep. But yeah, that's particularly it for particular review. Next up is going to be a Comic Corner, and it's going to be right back to watching Ultra Q, where in one of the episodes we're going to see the first appearance of, well, the first time we get to see the actor who's going to play Ultraman himself. We're going to talk about him in the very next episode for the series. But first, a Comic Corner. Yes, a Comic Corner. You've been interested in discussing this one, okay? Next video. Bye.